Hi, I'm Josiah, an Apprentice Nation Skills leader.
And I'm Roxanne, and together we're going to give you a deep dive into the subject of mentorship.
This is episode 1 in a 3-part set. Roxanne will take you through episode 2, covering how do you get the best out of your mentoring conversation. And finally, in episode 3, Roxanne and I will share practical tools and activities to help you get started on your mentoring journey. Stay tuned, and let's begin by exploring the subject of mentorship in detail. People often talk about needing a mentor, but what actually is mentorship? We can start by identifying 2 parties in a mentorship relationship. The mentor, the person who's primarily teaching, and the mentee, the person who is primarily learning. Now, I looked around to find a true definition of mentorship, and if you search, no doubt you'll find many. But here's a definition that I really like. Mentoring is a reciprocal learning relationship in which a mentor and mentee agree to a partnership where they work collaboratively toward the achievement of mutually defined goals that will develop a mentee's skills, abilities, knowledge, and/or thinking. The way I see it, it's a relationship where someone's got some perspective, experience, and/or connections, and they're willing to share it with someone who doesn't. My colleague Alvin had a chat with musical artist and entrepreneur Tiny, who we know to be a profoundly respectable musician and mentor in his own right. And he speaks about having an ongoing mentorship relationship himself. Let's have a listen to see what he said.
So first question, proper simple. Do you have a mentor? And if so, how did you get him or her?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's anyone officially that's like my main mentor, but in terms of basically anyone that's older than me, that kind of has experience, whether they're successful or not, is kind of my mentor. That I choose to be around, not just a random person on the street, but all of the people that are older than me, and it's kind of been like that. Like, I think mentors are very, very important, but I would say, coming from the environment that I came from, anyone who's older than me, so whether it be my manager, whether it be my engineer, whether it be my mum, whether it be like another artist, you know, like, I would always just try my best, and in my mind, even if they didn't think they were mentoring me, I would take mentorship from them with every conversation, so I'd be asking them the right questions and all them kind of things.
Just that, like, always being open to learn, because you never...
Yeah, that's it, you got it in a nutshell, just always being open to learn. And obviously now I'm in a position where I mentor people, so some of those people you might know, like a Jeremiah Emmanuel. It was actually mad, because when I was driving here, I was driving through Camberwell New Road, yeah, and I saw a big billboard of his face.
I've seen that.
You've seen it, yeah?
Big up Jeremiah.
Big up Jeremiah. I was just like, life is mad, bro. Life is crazy, like, and that guy is just flying, and he'll continue to fly. But yeah, now I try my best to be a mentor for as many like young people as I can, and obviously he is one of those people. But yeah, at the time, I wouldn't say there was anyone officially, but just everyone older than me, basically.
And then around mentorship, do you think vulnerability is important? So around the people that you're trying to like learn from, do you think it was important for you to be vulnerable to them? And the people you're mentoring now, like, are they vulnerable to you? Do you create that space for them?
That's a great question. Someone said, you know, like, the teacher was once a student at the beginning, yeah? And so in my mind, that always means you had to be vulnerable at one stage. Do you get what I mean? Like, every expert, they weren't always an expert. Every professional, there was a time where they were a beginner or they were a novice. In terms of like seeking information and knowledge, like, I've never had an ego. Like, I've always been the most open, vulnerable, like, maybe even too much to a fault even, do you get what I mean? But I've been so keen on learning, and I've accepted that I didn't know everything, do you get what I mean? And no one knows everything. That yeah, I've been very, very vulnerable in me trying to attain information and to further develop myself.
For sure, because you need to get what you can when you can.
Yeah.
And what's the best advice that you think you've been given by, I guess, someone that you consider a mentor?
Again, like J-Lo, that's what I'm saying. I met her like a couple times, but then
like Jennifer Lopez?
Yeah, but then the one time, me and my manager went to her house just to talk about like a record and stuff like that. And then that's what I'm saying, like, she's not my mentor, but at the time, I could ask her a million different things. So I asked her what you asked me. And I was like, what's the best bit of advice that anyone's ever given you? And then she told me a story of when, you know, the Diddy and J-Lo days and all them kind of things. And she, the 2 things that she said is that she made a record, and that basically she loved the record so much, and then everyone else came in and they didn't like the song, and she was like, yeah, but I like it, that's what I want to like put out. And then it was either Diddy or someone was like, yeah, but you're not making the music for you, you're making the music for people to enjoy. So if you want to release it, like, people need to like it, do you get what I mean? Because if you just want to make it for yourself, you can do it in your house, in your shower, all day long. So then that really resonated with me. And then the second thing was just no complaining. And maybe it's because I'm in a quite good situation, but I wake up every day thinking, like, for as long as I'm alive, why do I have a reason to complain? I'm like, you know what? Like, you just can't ever complain. Like, in life, there's gonna be ups, there'll be down, there'll be rough, there'll be smooth, but you know, just embrace the fact that you're alive. You're one of those, you know, the sperm that fertilized the egg and all that. You were the one, you're the guy that made it. Do you get what I mean? And so just try and thrive while you're here, and then the rest is down to God, innit?
I found that so insightful because Tiny takes every opportunity possible to learn from those around him. I think that that's a really humble approach to mentorship. Definitely more informal than formal though. Like Tiny has just demonstrated, there are different types of mentorship. Let's have a look at some of the most common types of mentorship in depth. Okay, so first you have traditional mentorship. This is when a mentor has significantly more experience in an area than that of a mentee. The mentor will guide the mentee in a way that will expand their understanding of their particular expertise, helping them to develop. Did you know you can be directly mentored by peers? Often referred to as peer-to-peer mentoring. This is when someone who is of a similar age, level, or experience to you is able to share their knowledge based on helping you to grow. For example, just because you're a university student, it doesn't mean you know everything about every university subject. Now, you can have another student who's your peer and you can learn from each other. That's peer-to-peer mentorship. The third type of mentorship I wanted to cover is group mentorship. This is where you have a singular mentor who's essentially guiding several mentees at the same time. It's sort of similar to that of a classroom environment. Okay, the final type of mentorship to consider is reverse mentoring. This is when someone who may generally be less experienced than you can still teach you something. For example, I actually have a nephew who is confident in gaming. He plays Minecraft. I may be able to help him with algebra, but if I want to learn how to play Minecraft, I'll need his guidance, his expertise, regardless of his age. In the workplace, this method is becoming more common as younger employees are mentoring senior leaders, teaching them ways to leverage social media platforms for business. Whilst I've shared 4 kinds of mentorship, in this 3-part series, we're going to focus on the traditional type. One-to-one, mentee to mentor, the student and the master. Now, this may seem like an obvious question, but why do you want a mentor? There's plenty of reasons, honestly. Let me call out some of the benefits. Which of these work for you? Their experience, or their skills, their investment, their network, potential opportunities, constructive feedback, not to forget great motivation, encouragement, and support. The list can go on and on. According to the Harvard Business Review, 84% of CEOs in formal mentoring programs said that mentoring had helped them avoid costly mistakes. 84% of them said they had become more proficient in their roles. Almost 70% of them said that they were making better decisions. Here's an open question. Why would anyone be willing to mentor me? The truth is, people are far kinder and more willing to share their knowledge and expertise than you could imagine. The amount you could get out of someone who's willing to share is unfathomable. Now, let's move the conversation on. It's all well and good knowing what you can get out of your mentor, but what are your responsibilities? It's really important to understand that as a mentee, you will primarily determine the course of your mentoring relationship. The responsibility is yours to define what you need and what you want from the mentoring relationship. The mentality that you need when leading your mentor is that of ownership. Imagine going on a mountain hike without a plan, a map, or even a phone, but you need to get to your final destination before dark. It's your responsibility to be prepared. Now, a mentor can show you higher heights, greater perspective, but if you're unprepared, you're not going to make the most out of your journey. Ultimately, this is your journey, and the responsibility lies with you. Here are some things to consider. How long will the relationship last for? Weeks? A month? Where will they take place? What is the duration? Now, in episode 2, Getting the Most from Your Mentor session, Roxanne will go into more detail about what exactly your responsibilities will look like. Roxanne, please can you tell them a little bit about the episode?
Thanks, Josiah. Of course. In the next episode, I'm going to take you through a simple yet memorable framework to help you get the most from your mentoring relationship. We're going to look at preparation, negotiation, growth, and closure. I'll also explore with you benefits of goal setting with some tips you're not going to want to miss.
We've covered a lot in this video so far, and I think it's timely to bring our knowledge to life. We're going to interview Annabelle Cook, brand manager for Lucozade Energy, and we're going to hear about her experience as an Apprentice Nation's Lucozade mentor. Thank you so much for joining us, Annabelle.
That's all right, happy to be here.
Cool. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Annabelle, I'm the brand manager for Lucozade Energy. Great to be here today, super excited. I've had some great experiences with some of the mentors at Apprentice Nation, and you're such a fantastic partner for us to work with.
And I wanted to ask, why did you become a mentor in the first place?
I think it's a really good question. I think for me personally, I've had so much good advice over the years from people. I've worked with some great people who've just given me, like, not just any advice, just really valuable advice that's really shaped my career and kind of who I am as a person today. So I think for me, kind of mentoring is just, it's a fantastic opportunity to actually give back and to work with someone who's at that point that I kind of was, and sometimes still am, I'm still developing as a person too. And just to be able to support them, guide them, provide them with some of the advice that I've received from other people, because, it's so valuable and everyone's still learning. So yeah, it's a really key thing for me. And plus, it doesn't take up much time either. I think that's a really key thing. I think sometimes when people say, do you want to be a mentor? People think, oh God, it's going to take up loads of my time and I don't have enough time and everyone's always busy in meetings. But actually, it's not a huge amount of time. It's as long as you can build that relationship with your mentee and you kind of have like a little agenda of what you want to talk about with them. It doesn't take much time at all, and it's just such a great thing to do.
I'm sure it helps when you actually like each other, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think having a relationship is just so important, because I love meeting new people, and mentoring is such a good way of meeting new people from kind of diverse backgrounds as well. So that's just a really key thing for me too.
What makes a good mentee?
I think in terms of what makes a good mentee, it's someone who I think values the other person, so their mentor, respects the time that they have and makes the best use of that time. I think when it comes to kind of mentee-mentor relationships, you just want to as a mentee, you want to make sure that you're extracting the most value out of that time with that person, because they've got the networks to kind of connect you with, and the experience and learnings from kind of failures and successes in their own careers that you can learn from. So I think it's just coming prepared to the meetings, knowing what you want to talk to them about, having a positive attitude, positive mindset, and kind of knowing what you want to do and what direction that you want to go in your career. Like a rough idea. You don't have to know exactly, I want to do marketing for this company, for this brand. Just a rough idea. It might just be marketing, but you don't know whether you want to do digital marketing or, I don't know, something completely different. So I think it's just coming prepared with like that open mindset, just to ask them anything. They're there for you. The time has been allocated for you, so ask away and use the time really wisely.
I wanted to ask you, what do you wish that a mentee understood before engaging in a mentorship relationship?
It's a great question. I think for me, that time that you have with your mentor is such valuable time. That person is there for you, they're there to listen, provide you with guidance. And I think it's just knowing that there's no such thing as a silly question. And I know that people say that all the time, but it's so true. Everyone is, learning and developing every day, regardless of your level of seniority. Everyone is learning and everyone has to ask questions. So I think it's really about staying curious, having that kind of curious mindset, and just asking those questions.
Thank you so much. That's been so helpful. Thank you, Annabelle. Now, over to you as I bring episode 1 to a close. Here is a simple activity to help you to focus. Step 1, imagine a company that you would love to work for. Step 2, imagine yourself being provided the opportunity to be a mentee to the CEO of your selected company. Step 3 is a task. Can you think of one thing that you'd like to share with your mentor to help you build rapport with them? 2 reasons why you admire them? 3 goals that you would like to accomplish during your mentorship relationship? If you're struggling to think of any answers to these questions, just check out episode 2 with Roxanne. But I'll leave you with this short but real quote. A great mentor is hard to find, difficult to part with, and impossible to forget.